This article is from the Daily Mail of the United Kingdom. And the incident happened in Manhattan, in New York City. So this was like the second time in about a week somebody was shoved onto the tracks of the train. A lady died like 2 weekends ago at Times Square Station, where the Q train, the W train, and then this man was pushed, 62-year-old man, shoved onto the station, Fulton Street, on the A and the C. So this is becoming like an epidemic, if I may use that word. Let's see if we can. And the reason I'm bringing this stuff up is because we have people who traveling, and this is a travel channel, and people coming in from all parts of the world, right? Coming to the United States, coming to New York, and they may not be aware of what's going on, and they should be aware whenever they go down in the subway, because the subway is, it's cheap in comparison than taking a taxi. But it's like there should be a sign that says, whoever enters here, you may not leave. You may not come out alive. You may be brought out on a gurney. So police have released surveillance footage of the suspect accused of shoving a 62-year-old man onto the subway tracks on Sunday, just weeks after a woman was killed in a similar assault, prompting New York City officials to call for platform barriers at subway stations. And they've been calling for these platforms for years. However, the MTA claim it's difficult, the engineering and so forth. And I have to bring up this story. When I was in Thailand, there's a museum there in Kanchanaburi whereby the Japanese were able to build a railroad, right, that would take them toward India, because they wanted to attack the British. The British was in those days. The British was still a colonial power in India. India wasn't independent until around 1947. But during World War II, India was under the British Empire. However, the British tried to build a railroad from Burma that would take them to the mountains, and they were not able to do it. The Japanese, however, were able to do it. And what's interesting is that the Japanese, they didn't have any railroads before. Japan used to be like a closed society. And the Japanese, they learned building railroads from the British. They send their engineers there to study how you build railroads and so forth. So here comes the Japanese, and they were able to do something that the British were not able to do. And the British were the ones who taught them how to build railroads. So, you know what? The Transit Authority, there has to be a way. Just the same way the Japanese were able to find a way to build railroads through the mountains where the British couldn't in Burma, the Transit Authority should be able to find engineers who can install some kind of barriers. And the transit comes up with different things, like people on wheelchairs trying to get in and so forth. That has nothing to do with it, because like in Hong Kong, and I've been to Hong Kong, Bangkok, been there, and they have a similar system whereby the doors open up right where the doors on the glass would open up on the platform. Everything is matched up real well. So it could be done in Hong Kong, It could be done in Bangkok, Thailand, and I believe Mexico City too. Yeah, I was in Mexico. I was in Mexico City in December 2020, and they use a system like that too. And very safe. You don't have to worry somebody's drunk and they fall on the platform. No, you don't have to worry about that. New York City, we keep getting people being pushed onto the platform, which is really ridiculous. So here it is right here, right there. The guy that the police are looking for. This guy, he has a very distinguishable face. You could see him from maybe a mile away. And the thing is, he's supposed to be wearing a mask in the subway, but he isn't. You see? Yeah. So, right there, that's going against the regulation. That's a crime in itself. Might be a minor one, but it's a crime in itself. Not even wearing a mask. See? Let's see. Could I get this running? This thing here. And there. Let's see. Okay, this is the Fulton Street, William Street, Fulton Street. And you have cops posted outside the station. This is the lady who was shoved. She's from California and she moved to New York. You know, if you come to New York and you use the subway, it's best to stay in the middle of the platform. So if somebody push you, you stand a chance, you fall forward or what have you, you're still on the platform. You just don't want to be shoved and you go flying under the train tracks. That's the last thing you want. So you might get a broken bone in your face if you land on the platform, but that's still better than landing on the train track and being electrocuted and have a train run over you. Yeah. This lady had a very beautiful, bright smile. From what I understand, she traveled around the world and she used to volunteer and help with homeless. Imagine that? Yeah, she worked and helped the homeless, and this is how she ended up dying. Very, very regrettable. Police found a gun on a 17-year-old. There are just too many guns. Too many guns in this city. You know, it's like where they're coming from. Too many guns. And the federal government has no interest in stopping these guns, apparently. You see? None. The new mayor said he's going to do something. Let's see what he can do about crime. There's just too many. Let's see here. Connection with Streatham. This looks like England. This is England. Dual carriageway. We don't use that term here. Carriageway. Nope. They probably changed this because there was a video earlier of the guy going through the gate. I don't see it anymore. So if you come into New York City, you have to have your guard up. Look around you. Be aware. Because there are people down there in the subway, mentally ill and regular criminals. And the police, for some reason, can't seem to get... I know there are a lot of people who defend the police and say, well, you know, you tie their hands or what. That's a bunch of nonsense. It's just the way that they operate. You see, if something happens right now, they send a bunch of cops out at the scene, and that may be like for 24 hours, and then they're gone. That's not the way it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be that there are cops in these stations, and they don't have to put the guard, you know, that barrier or what have you, in all the stations. Because Manhattan is where a lot of this stuff happens, like Times Square and so forth. People come from different parts of the country to get their names in the paper. You know, and I could go down a list of different events where people came, like from Baltimore and Connecticut, either to kill themselves or kill police officers, or to kill people, kill black people. You know, leaving Baltimore. And if you ever been to Baltimore, Baltimore has a lot of black people. So why would you want to leave Baltimore to come to New York to kill somebody who is black? And according to the man who did that, he said, well, if he kills here in Manhattan, it's going to be a worldwide story. And that's true. That's what happened, because Manhattan is one of those cities that you do something that happened. I have people call me from Thailand when they had there was I think it was a gas leak and there blew up and there was fire, and somebody was calling me asking me if I'm okay. She heard the news all the way in Thailand, you see. So if that happened somewhere like in some small town upstate New York, she wouldn't call me. Nobody would call me. Or maybe maybe it won't even make the news. You see? So that's what it is. You're dealing with a major city, and with a major city, that's what happens. This is why this story is in the Daily Mail in the United Kingdom, because you have lots of people traveling from there, coming here, and they need to know and they need to be aware of what's going on here. This is not a safe city. I have to admit that, even though I live here, it's not safe. You go down there, and you're not sure what's going to happen. I mean, I've been in places. Let me put it this way: I was in Beirut, Lebanon, 2003, and Lebanon, you can say, is a dangerous place, right? With I think it's Hezbollah. Hezbollah is located in Lebanon in the Bekaa Valley, and I was there. I think I was walking the street after 2 a.m, and I didn't feel afraid after 2 a.m. Yeah, because I wanted to use the internet. At that time, back then, you didn't have all this, the Wi-Fi and 3G, 4G. You didn't have all this stuff where you can just use your phone. No, you didn't have those in those days. So you had to go to an internet cafe. Now it's different. You can do that from your hotel. Just about every hotel I travel to now, regardless, whether it's the Philippines, Thailand, they all have Wi-Fi, but that didn't exist back in those. And this was 2003. They didn't have anything like that. So, and they didn't have any smartphone too. No, it was just regular phone, and you have to buy a SIM card to put in. Yeah, so technology sure changed a lot. But my point is, Beirut, Lebanon, right? One of the most dangerous places in the world, people would think, with the Civil War and all that went on. And I felt safer walking there than I would feel in New York City where I live, So let that sink in there. Think about it.